Yeah, so this one's called Totally Balanced Legendaries, coming to Diablo 4 on launch and more. Let's check it out.
Hey folks, this is Riker with a gaming news wrap-up video where we discuss the happenings of the week. This week's topics include the latest Diablo 4 news, including an update on what we can expect next. Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick allegedly feeling threatened by NetEase. E3 2023 being cancelled, and more. As always, discussion timestamps can be found in the description below. But right before you skip ahead, just a quick reminder to ring that sub notification bell to be alerted to new Saturday episodes and stay up to date with gaming news highlights. But before we move on, a quick word from this video's sponsor, 505 Games and Daredrop. 505 Games just released their newest game, Crime Boss Rocky City, and have dared me to complete some challenges in the game on Daredrop. Let's see, successfully complete the opening rooftop mission. Easy. Crime Boss Rocky City is an organized crime FPS that you can play either solo or with friends. Go on heists, rob jewelry stores, take hostages, fight popos. If you like games like Payday 2, GTA, or Saints Row, I think you'll love this one. And it's also got an all-star cast of Hollywood actors. Danny Trejo, Kim Basinger, Vanilla Ice, Michael Madsen, Danny Glover.
I think this is on my wish list.
Chuck friggin' Norris.
You like learning, I can see it. Why did I beat you this time?
I just got killed by Chuck Norris. You can buy Crime Boss Rocky City by clicking the link in the description below. Starting off with Diablo news. We can expect to get an update on Diablo 4 in a couple of weeks, according to Diablo franchise general manager Rod Ferguson. Rod tweeted, quote, PSA, we're going through all of your feedback and we will have an update in a couple of weeks about what we heard and what we're addressing. Thanks for helping to test the beta and your patience as you worked through issues.
That's actually really good news. Now, see, a lot of times these companies, they come out with betas and they're more or less just demos. Like, here's a demo of the game. We're not changing anything, so don't bother with feedback, guys. Don't bother with telling us about bugs because we're probably not going to fix it right away. This is what it is. It's coming out the way you're playing it right now. But with Blizzard on this Diablo beta, it was actually a technical test for once. Now, I haven't seen one of these in quite a while where a company actually does this. And who knows, maybe I missed some games where there are companies that do betas like this for technical testing, but a lot of the betas I played, especially by like Ubisoft or something, they're just demos. Come on, Ubisoft. But yeah, this is good news. So that means they're actually taking people's feedback and listening and you know, fixing problems with the game. So I can't wait to see it. Hopefully it's going to be a great game. They're actually listening to their audience. So.
And Global Community Development Director Adam Fletcher gave us a couple more details himself, tweeting, quote, getting a lot of questions about next developer update stream. That'll be in April. We will have a special guest.
Guess what? It's April. It's coming soon.
Last dev stream, we mentioned that our next topic will be progression/endgame systems in Diablo 4. We expect to also chat about...
We already talked about endgame systems, especially with respecs on the tree. Paragon tree, I think it was, yeah. So if you guys want to check that out, the video is in my playlist for reaction videos. Check that out if you have time.
Some beta learnings. These tweets come after the game's second beta weekend, the open beta, during which everyone could try the game for free, and the Druid and the Necromancer class were available for play for the first time. Once again, queues were massive. This was intended to be a stress test, and those servers were indeed stressed. Queues and performance overall were certainly worse on the open beta weekend than the early access beta weekend, and understandably...
I don't know about that. Maybe Friday, but Saturday when I played, it was actually not that bad. We had like 1 minute wait queues and we were in the game. And I think it only got disconnected like once when I tried to go into a dungeon. They weren't like 30-minute queues. It was anywhere from like 1 to 5 minutes tops on trying to get in the game. Whereas the early access to the beta weekend was fucking hell. It was like 30-minute queue wait times, if not an hour.
So there were probably a lot more people playing. Now, in case you haven't seen it, I released a video with my thoughts on all 5 of the classes. I also have live stream VODs of gameplay on each of those classes. You can find that in the live section of my channel. But what did you folks think of the beta? What are your impressions of Diablo 4? Is it living up to your expectations? Sound off in the comments. Now, a little detail that some people might not have picked up about druids. Redditor Pegst assembled this collage of images showing how your choice of hair color actually impacts the fur color of your
that's cool. I didn't know that.
werewolf form. That's something to bear in mind there when creating your druid on release. Meanwhile, Associate Game Director Joe Pipora tweeted that we haven't seen anywhere close to all the legendary powers that will be available at game launch. He said, quote, "I don't think folks realize how many more legendary powers exist beyond what was on display during the beta. There's a lot of bizarre, exciting, and totally balanced legendaries to discover when the game goes live in June." He later specified that the Codex of Power contains less than half of all the possible legendary powers that can be found in D4. So, for anyone thinking they had all the legendaries available in the beta, nope. And I'm willing to bet that some of the best ones only start dropping at higher level. Now, about legendary drops, one feature in D4 that some people may have missed is the fact that if a legendary drops and you don't pick it up, it's not lost. It gets mailed to your stash. The first time I saw this,
I did not know that. That's actually really fucking cool. And we just talked about stashes, and from what I read on, well, from the video I reviewed, they posted on Twitter that the stashes should be at every waypoint when the game launches, which means you can access those items that you missed anywhere there's a waypoint.
This feature was actually in Diablo Immortal, and when I saw it in D4, I gotta admit, I had a sour reaction initially. I'm still not sure how I feel about it. On one hand, I've complained about backtracking, and backtracking to pick up a legendary item is something that I have begrudgingly done on more than one occasion. On the other hand, now that I realize this exists, I don't even bother picking up legendaries anymore. What's the point? They get mailed to me anyway. Sure, if you're looking for the instant gratification and possibly getting to use the item immediately, yeah, you want to grab it right away, but once we get past leveling and onto farming, then what? I'm just not picking up items anymore? Feels weird. But how do you folks feel about it? Sound off in the comments, because
it does feel weird, which is why I'll probably still be picking them up, unless my inventory is full, and then I'll just have them mailed to my stash. That's how I'm going to view it, because everyone knows we all love that instant gratification of, especially if you get like a hot weapon, right? You're going to want to switch that out and just start fucking killing everything.
I'm still not sure whether I like it or don't. I know that it improves the experience in some ways, but I also feel like it takes a fundamental aspect of the game, getting drops, and pseudo-automates it. Blizzard also shared some statistics from the open beta weekend. The most played classes were Sorcerer and Necromancer, no surprise. They were the most powerful classes, and 2.6 million people unlocked the Beta Wolf backpack by getting at least...
It's Sorcerer, Necromancer, followed by Rogue, and then like just Barbarian and Druid are completely ass at this point right now, so hopefully they fix those.
At least one character to at least level 20. I'm actually a little surprised by this figure. I expected it to be higher. I'm sure millions upon millions of people played during the open beta weekend, but I guess I underestimated how long it may take people to reach level 20, or overestimated how much...
Bro, I don't even think I got a character to level 20. I got my Barbarian to 10, and I think I got the Druid to like 18, which I'm pissed because I was 2 levels away, apparently. I just found this out like a couple days ago from getting the puppy back bling. Now I don't think I'm going to get it, but I guess we'll find out.
Time people were willing to put into the beta during the weekend. Oh, I've also seen a lot of feedback about the Necromancer skeletons looking too glowy, and the devs have stated, quote, "Necromancer summons luminance levels are not fully finalized. They will be adjusted for launch." I imagine what happened was that people were having trouble distinguishing their own skeletons from the monsters, and maybe now during beta they swung things too far in the other direction. In other news, streamer AnnaCake got a chance to interview Diablo 4 game director Joe Shelley and Rod Ferguson, and we got a few extra bits of insight out of it. So while Diablo 4 will not be launching with leaderboards, it is a feature that they're planning to bring back in some way. They're likely going to have a race to 100, the max level, which is what we saw a lot in Diablo 2, for instance. But they're also looking at other places they can insert leaderboards, like maybe in nightmare dungeons or maybe for some kind of level 100 boss fight. That said, they're very wary of implementing leaderboards in a way that allows for the dictation of the meta, which is what we see in Diablo 3. People look at the top leaderboard build and assume that's the best, and even if the second best build is like 5% weaker, the mentality becomes, well, everything else is trash. And they really want to avoid that sort of thing happening where people just look at leaderboards and that establishes the meta. Speaking briefly of clan features, it seems currently clans will remain as they were in beta. Very bare bones, basically just a social group. But
I can see that.
ways that they can bring in more clan features in the future. I'm personally looking forward to that. Clan housing, guild housing would be awesome. We also learned that white...
That would, and from my understanding is, I think they were talking about making this more of like a sandboxy raid style game, which I'm all for, honestly. I would love to see this kind of take the direction of World of Warcraft. So introducing guilds into this, that would be pretty cool too.
And blue items serve no purpose in Diablo 4's endgame itemization. You may use some of these while leveling up because it's an upgrade over outdated gear, but in the endgame you'll never be choosing to equip a white or blue over another item. This is in contrast to a past itemization update that suggested that blue items can sometimes roll with higher stats, as was the case in Diablo 2. This would have resulted in very few edge cases where you'd want a blue item in a slot somewhere. Personally, I hope that we do eventually have systems implemented that make rare use of white and blue items. Maybe once they add rune words, for instance, they could be only inserted into white item bases like in Diablo 2. But make rune words not as universally powerful as in D2. Maybe the average endgame build would want maybe one rune word. Then I don't know about blues, but again, a very rare case scenario, maybe allow legendary aspects to be imbued on them and let them have the possibility again of rolling higher stats than rares. So fewer affixes as it currently is, but you can get a higher roll than on a rare. So that might result again in very specific edge cases where you're looking for a breakpoint on something like attack speed or crit chance, and you're willing to sacrifice an entire affix to get there. Now, what we definitely don't want is an endgame where you're forced to pick up and analyze literally every item that ever drops, every white, every blue. But having, again, specific edge cases where it can sometimes be useful to look for some of these items, as opposed to literally always ignoring them, I think is a good idea. In Diablo 2, the average player ignored all blue items, and back in the day, the average casual player also ignored all white items because they didn't even know about rune words. And I think that's perfect, a scenario where most of the players can ignore the blue and the white items, but players who really understand itemization and want to go the extra mile and really want to max out their gear and use their knowledge of itemization to squeeze out every little bit of power can go and fish and farm for those. We also learned that seasons in D4 will last 3 months. We knew that already, but unlike Diablo 3, where the end date could be rather unpredictable, they want D4's schedule to be much more fixed so that people can plan ahead around the release of seasons. And they also want to rotate seasons with Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 in such a way that the season starts don't conflict with each other. And as for Diablo 3 seasons, the current season 28, which was absolutely massive. If you haven't heard about it, check out this video to see why this is probably, in my opinion, the best season ever. But next season 29 will not be nearly as large, but it still will be a season of new content and the last season of new content for Diablo 3. After season 29, they're going to start repeating past season themes and past cosmetic rewards. Then a surprise for me was that there
I don't know if I like that idea.
End game activities than they've already shared. I'm talking about D4 again here. I got a full video discussing the endgame activities that they've already revealed.
And we've already discussed those in-game activities as well, like with PvP and getting a legendary gear or heroic gear in different ways than farming. So if you guys want to check that out as well, it is in my reaction playlist on my channel.
Short, to be a little reductionist, those activities consist of Something similar to Diablo 3 bounties, something similar to Diablo 2 terrorized zones, plus nightmare dungeons, which involve finding keys to run dungeons on higher difficulty for higher reward. So if there's going to be even more than this, I look forward to seeing what that'll be. Then on the topic of game pace, the devs said that they were aiming for something roughly between D2 and D3. Though honestly, D2 endgame can be blitzingly fast when you have a fully geared Hammerden or Javazon. And they're also looking into the possibility of adding a separate gem tab so that gems don't occupy space in your stash. That would be very welcome. Now, I encourage you folks to check out Anacake's full interview video, link in the description.
Yeah, that would be...
In a quick Diablo 3 update, the devs released this week a patch to fix a Demon Hunter exploit that involved the new Natalia set. It'd be basically one-shotting enemies on ZDPS builds. And they also wiped the affected leaderboards. And lastly in Diablo news, the Diablo YouTube channel released a new Diablo Lo-Fi Beats multi-hour video that remixes some classic Diablo tunes
Hell yeah, brother.
into some relaxing
Diablo Lo-Fi. Give me that Diablo Lo-Fi on my streams.
Background music. Link in the description. Oh, I'll also mention quickly, I released a new Diablo lore video covering the story of Diablo 2.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. It sounds like they're implementing a lot of things when it comes to the release.
Hey guys, if you like the video, make sure you head over to the page, hit that like button, scroll over, smash that subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get notified for future video drops, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.